Hey guys, Jacob Howard here, and in this video we are going to review POPO, or pop-on, pop-off motors. Now, when these motors first came out, there was a lot of hype about the main feature they provided: easy on and off switching of propellers. They said that in just 20 seconds you could switch out all four props, and by all accounts, it seemed like a fair claim. And many people enjoyed the benefits POPO motors offered, until, that is, the Pro system came out. When I first got POPO Pro motors, I have to admit, I wasn't overly happy with the design. With the original system, you had the eject button protruding from the shaft, which allowed for very easy access and quick swapping of props. With that system, though, they had some claims that the button was being pushed during crashes and collisions, and it was allowing the prop to come off, so they adjusted to the Pro system. With the Pro system, as you can see, the POPO button is actually inside the shaft, and the only way to press it down is by having a tool, such as a 2mm hex, which admittedly many pilots already have on them. But this change made switching the props much more complicated, especially as time went on. For example, now you have to get a tool, put the prop on, press the button down, twist the prop while pushing down until it engages. Considering one of the original developments of the POPO system was not having to use tools, that already makes it more difficult. But even with these extra steps, switching props with POPO was still faster. That is, until wear kicks in. I have two quads here for comparison. We have the Xylo Freestyle with POPO Pro motors, and an Emax Hawk Pro. The Hawk prop has been run into gates, the ground, trees, and a lot more through its lifespan. The Freestyle, on the other hand, is my cinematic drone, and has only had a handful of crashes, with most of them being very mild. What I want to demonstrate is how the two styles of motors have survived through all the crashes, and which one is faster at switching props. So I have some used props on both that haven't been changed in weeks. I'm going to take them off and put on brand new ones of the props these drones both came with, and see which one is faster. A quick disclaimer, I have been changing the props on this drone now for over a year, so I do know what I'm doing. So as you can see, in this instance, the POPO motors actually would not re-engage. So we actually had to disassemble all four motors to get them to re-engage. So definitely the winner in this test was the Hawk Pro. So why did the traditional way of doing props actually go faster? It comes down to how they are both made. Once again, with the original setup for POPO, I believe it would have won because the design was much simpler and really worked well. On the other hand, the Hawk motor has the shaft in the center of the motor that has a place for a nut to be screwed on. The prop is secured by the nut as it gets screwed on. The action that takes all the time is taking the nut on and off. With the POPO motor, there are 3 semicircles around the shaft that go in when you press the button. And on the prop, there are 3 semicircle divots on the hub. As you press the prop on, the semicircles are supposed to re-engage once they get to the divots in the hub. When they do, you hear a click, the button comes back up, and the prop won't continue to rotate. When I first got these motors, they worked pretty well. I could put on new props in under the time it would take for the original method. However, as time went on, I noticed the button would get harder to depress, and oftentimes it wouldn't re-engage when the prop was in place. This leads you to spending way too much time guessing on if you have to push harder to get it to engage. I have semi-transparent props, but even then it's hard to see if the prop is aligned to allow the system to engage. In one case, outside of the 4 that we had during the test, I had to actually disassemble the entire motor to get the button to re-engage. Fortunately, that's only happened now 5 times, but that would be a serious issue for someone out on the field if they had to do that every time they wanted to change props. So what's the consensus? Should you get the POPO Pro motors? I would have to say I do not recommend that. I believe the wear and tear of FPV just puts too much on a concealed button like this on the shaft of the motor. Too many things can go wrong, and definitely in my situation, they have. I'm not saying every POPO Pro motor will end up having the same issues as mine, but considering I've had 5 of these slowly move towards the same problem, I can say it's definitely an issue many people will face. I really hope to see further development on the POPO Pro system, but for now, I would say that the original method is the best way to go for the ease of use. So there's my review on the POPO Pro system. If you enjoyed this video on FPV, we actually have an entire online course developed around these same types of lessons. We're talking dozens of lessons and hours of material designed to get you started into FPV or make you a better pilot. It is the world's first online FPV course, and we have students from around the world learning through it. The link to learn more is in the comments below. And as always, if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know, and have fun flying.